Hey everyone, welcome back to Third Shot Podcast. Uncle Greg and I have another wonderful episode in store for you. But before we get into it, please do us a favor, head on over to our social media, Instagram and Facebook at Third Shot Podcast, or on X at Third Shot Pod. You can also check out our website, thirdshotpodcast.com, where you can listen to all of our previous episodes. You could buy some of our Third Shot apparel. And we are also on YouTube, Third Shot Podcast.
Yes, we are.
Without further ado,
How's it going, Brigie?
good. If you're watching, you can see I'm not in my normal studio today.
You're not. Let's do a cheers. I want to ask you where you're at. Cheers.
Cheers.
Yeah, the first thing I noticed, you're not at your normal studio. I see the bed in the background. I see a curtain. I'm guessing a hotel.
You are correct. We're doing a little staycation. Husband is coming off of his work week. And so just to kind of reconnect, have some fun on a Sunday, doing
Nice.
a little staycation.
Nice. Like you guys like doing the staycations. I think that's so much fun. And being in Las Vegas, it's a perfect spot. You could try out all the different hotels.
Yeah, that's exactly what our thought is too. Like we live in one of the biggest tourist spots in the world and in the country. So why not take advantage of it because we're here.
I've never asked you this. Where's your favorite hotel to stay at?
So we really like Mandalay Bay.
Okay.
That's like for the price and everything else that you get with it, Mandalay is one of our favorites to stay at. The beds are super comfortable and the pillows. Like we kind of always compare all of the other hotels to that one.
Mm-hmm.
And it's off of this, it is on the strip, but it's like further down on the end, on the south end of the strip. So it's really easy and convenient to get to. You don't really get stuck in a lot of that touristy traffic on the boulevard.
Mm-hmm.
And usually we go during the week. So I go to work the next morning
Uh-huh.
and it's the location to UNLV is like perfect. Like it's maybe a 10-minute commute to work. And so it's so nice.
Nice. And the food's good.
Yes, the food is great. I mean, anywhere in Vegas, you can't really go wrong with like any restaurant that you choose. There's just so many to pick from all over the place.
I find that in some hotels, that the restaurants are really good, but like so expensive
Yeah,
that,
because they
you
know
know,
they can charge that amount and people have to buy it.
yeah. And that's why ever since I've been coming down to visit you and visit Amanda, um, that we don't eat on the strip. We eat off the strip, and it's a lot less expensive. But the food, I think, is really, really good. Like some of the best food I've had anywhere in the country. And I've traveled a lot, and I think Vegas food is right up there at the top with like New York or anywhere else.
Yeah. Yeah, we do have like we don't lack any restaurants here, that's for sure.
Any type of restaurant, or you don't
Yeah.
lack choices. I mean, there's so many choices. I mean, literally every block there's another string of restaurants to try.
Yeah, I mean it's so great, but it's also horrible for my diet because it's just so much easier to be like, "Well, let's go try this new restaurant," or it makes it too easy, too convenient to eat out, I think. But it's so fun and we always have such a good time like trying all the new places.
What's the latest restaurant that you've tried for the first time?
Oh, so you've been to China Mama. That's a very popular one here in Vegas. They've got a few locations in Chinatown, but they recently opened a location near UNLV called Spring by China Mama because their thing that they do there is like traditional Chinese spring rolls with like the wraps, and then you pick your different meats and stuff. And it
Mm,
comes all together. But we didn't get to try that. We just went with like regular Chinese food. So good. They've got this crispy beef that's
the
kind of
crispy beef. I was just going to say that.
yes. Oh my god. It is so good. I don't know how they make it so crispy, but the sauce is like perfect. It's like tangy and sweet and savory all at the same time. They've got this really great eggplant dish that has like minced pork in it too. And I always get a cup of hot and sour soup to start off. So it's so good.
So Blaze has been on our show before. Blaze Boudreau. trainer. And he and I went to China Mama, and
Mhm.
we ordered the crispy beef. That was his favorite Chinese dish of all time, I think he said.
I can see why.
Yeah,
It is amazing.
totally good. Totally good.
Yeah.
Well, with all of that eating, are you playing? You working out? You drilling? What are you getting? Trying to get some calories off on the court?
Yes. Well, I had mentioned to you before, like pickleball was kind of like put on the back burner for all of those months of the wedding planning and everything, and then with the honeymoon. So I'm starting to get back into it, which has been super, super fun. And also my sister is getting interested in playing more. So she's
Nice.
wanting to be more active. And I was like, well, pickleball is it. Like
Yeah.
I just feel like it's so much fun because it's kind of a low stress environment and you meet so many great people. And when you're out there playing, you don't really even feel like you're working out, but you do get such a good workout.
Yes.
So we went out this past weekend and we're dinking around. I was trying to show her a few things, kind of get her feet wet a little bit. But I do have a question for you after that because I was like reevaluating all of the information I was like bombarding her with and thinking like maybe I need to like reel it in and tone it back a little bit.
Uh-huh.
So my question for you is what do you think are the top 3 things to like teach a brand new pickleball player
Mm,
so that they're not overwhelmed but yet they've got a good foundation so that they feel comfortable going out and playing?
right. Um, well, dinking, right? I think, start with dinking just to get a feel for where the ball, how it bounces, right? How hard to hit it, kind of control how far you're hitting the ball, how high you're hitting the ball. So I think, dinking is a good place to start. Work straight ahead, cross court, both backhand and forehand, right? I think that's a good place. Um, and then I think, working on just ground strokes, right? Because once you get
Mm,
a steady ground stroke, you can kind of figure out how to back it off and hit drops once you know how to hit a good
right.
ground stroke, right? Now, the third thing is trying to decide whether to go one handed or two handed backhand. That
Okay.
is something that I didn't even think about. It just kind of like came to me. I'm like, which is really weird because in tennis, when I did play, I had a two handed backhand. But then when you took me out to play pickleball, when we first started playing,
Mhm.
naturally I just hit it one handed. And I didn't know why. And I think it was because in ping pong, you can't do two handed,
Yeah.
right? You're just backhanding, one handed in ping pong. And for whatever reason, my brain was kind of telling me hit it like, backhand like ping pong paddle, right? So I was just naturally going one handed. And I almost think that I wish that I explored hitting a two handed backhand early on in learning how to play
Oh.
pickleball to make a decision. Because I
I've
see so many people going to 2E backhands and I see how
yeah.
powerful they can be with it. And I'm going, yeah, maybe and I'm already, what we've been playing now for what, or I've been playing now for what, 3 years or so. It's
Mhm.
like, do I really want to switch now? So I think for a beginner, like having them experiment and explore, hitting one-handed and two-handed and figuring out which way they want to go.
That's interesting. I wouldn't have even thought about the single with the two-handed backhand because naturally, when I did it as well, I just went with a single-handed backhand. That's good
And,
advice.
and maybe because you taught me how to play, I saw
Oh,
you hit
no.
one-handed backhand. I go, okay, I'm gonna hit a one-hand. I don't know why, but I'd never even thought about really trying a two-handed backhand very much when I started playing.
Have you tried it lately since playing?
Not really recently, but last season I
Uh-huh.
tried it, and I probably didn't give it enough time to kind of figure it out. I found that when I was dinking, I could do two-handed backhand pretty well. Like cross either way, from backhand side, I could do that fine. Um, it's when I didn't have power on my ground strokes, which is counterintuitive. You would think you'd have more power. You should have more power with a two-handed backhand for ground strokes. And for whatever reason, I wasn't generating the right amount of power, and I think my
Mm.
technique wasn't right. and I just needed to stick with it longer. Probably needed to find a coach that could really help me with my
Yeah.
form and technique and figuring out why I wasn't generating the power. I think I was trying to hit a one-handed backhand with the second hand on, with the left hand on the paddle. So
Mm.
and I think it shouldn't be that way. I think you should really drive with the left hand instead of backhanding it with the right hand and just having the left hand guide it. I think that was my problem, but I still needed to just drill on it for a long time. That's the thing, right? You just got to drill.
Yes, drills are super important, and knowing or getting your insight on what you feel is important too. I think now I can help my sister a little bit better, kind of guide her along and get those foundational techniques under her belt before throwing her out there, because I don't want to scare her away. I want her to keep enjoying and learning and wanting to learn more about pickleball.
Well, she was a good soccer player growing up as well, and she was on our kickball team, right? So I mean, she's athletic, so I think she's going to pick it up.
Yeah, she has natural reflexes too. Like, just growing up, always was able to just snatch things like out of the air. If we're tossing things around, she can catch easily. And when we were playing, I did some speed ups on her just to kind of like test
Hmm.
to see what her reaction would be. And she was able to return all of them. She got the paddle on it and everything. So I think this could be a sport for her.
So roll up some socks. You know how you roll up socks into a little ball, right?
Yeah.
Like at home or whatever, when you guys are messing around, and just chuck them at her. Like go about 10, 12 feet away from her and just chuck socks so it's not going to hurt or anything like that, and just have her catch them.
Oh, she would probably maybe miss only one out of, I don't know, 20, 30. She's so
that
good.
that will make her kitchen reflexes really, really good.
That's smart. I want to do that too now. There's
Yeah.
so many different training techniques out there.
Hmm. Well, we have a fantastic training tool that we've been trying out recently, and we have the creator of the Boss Pickle training tools, Chris Chu, is joining us today, and we're going to bring Chris in here in a moment, and it gives everybody an opportunity to go and, as Bridgie was saying, go on to our social media and please like us, follow us, and on our podcast platforms like Spotify and Apple, please subscribe. Give us 5 stars if you give a shot. Give it a shot as well. That really helps us as well. And YouTube. YouTube is a fantastic place, especially for today's interview, because you get the chance to actually see the product a little bit, and I think you'll have a better understanding of how it's going to work when you check out the Boss Pickle with Chris Chu. So let's bring Chris in. Welcome, Chris and Sue, to the Third Shot Podcast.
Thanks.
Thank you.
It's great to be here.
Thank you so much for joining us. We're going to get started real quick and talk about BOSSpickle. But before we do, we're going to do a little toast to Chris and Suda and their amazing training product. Cheers.
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 So,
Ooh.
Chris and Suda, please share with our audience and our listeners how the two of you know each other and how you got into pickleball.
You handle this one.
We met on a dating website, Facebook dating website.
Oh, nice.
Kind of like Facebook Marketplace.
Oh my goodness.
It's free and it's highly effective. And you got to claim your merchandise quickly, which I was lucky to do because she was
You
only
got a
on
good
there
one.
for like 24 hours and I was able to snap her up.
Well, we're still celebrating on Third Shot because Bridgie recently just got married.
Oh, congrats.
Congrats.
Ooh, we met through an app as well, so I can attest to that. They are effective.
Through the Facebook?
Not Facebook, it was Hinge.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And we've had a guest on that runs a dating app through pickleball. It's pickleballdating.com.
Oh, that's interesting. I'll have to check the archives for that.
Yeah. So there's people all over the country that are flying, meeting each other to play pickleball together, and starting relationships.
Wow, amazing.
So
Very
did you
cool.
two pick up
So you guys met?
pickleball together?
Yeah. How long have you been together?
We've been together since 2001. So Yeah.
And have you played pickleball all of that time, or is this a new sport for the
No.
two of you?
Chris introduced me, I think 2002, which is I don't play, excuse me, I don't play any sport. So he's kind of sport person and I want to hang out. He said, well, come out and hit the ball with me. I said, I don't know how to play any sport. And he said, that's fine. I just come out. And so he got this pickleball thing. And I'm like, what are these? And he says, pickleball. And the word pickle is get me going like pickle, you know? I'm like,
She
"What?"
likes pickles, so it was a natural.
Right?
So I started hit the ball back and forth with him. I'm not thinking about of anything, just hit the ball with him. And one day I want to know how to, score. So I just asked him, can you just teach me how to score? So maybe I'm more interested in the game because sometimes I don't want to go, but he says, come out. So to want to be with him, so I have to play some sort of sport, So I pick up pickleball.
She picked up a lot of things. Suda's from Thailand. This gal learned how to swim like 2 years ago.
Oh, wow. Congratulations.
Thank you.
And pickleball right around the same time.
Yep. Yes.
Well, Brigie,
So-
maybe you can ask Chris and Suda the same question you asked me, since we're talking about learning how to play the game.
Yeah, so in the intro, I was asking Uncle, what are the top 3 things that you think are maybe the most important or foundational to teach someone who's just learning the sport? What was beneficial, Suda, for you to learn?
Beneficial? Oh my goodness. I am like I said earlier, I don't know how to play sport. And when I'm going I get to know the sport a little bit, but I'm so attached to him because I don't want to go play with others.
Mm-hmm.
Playing pickleball give me the confidence because I'm getting to know the game a little bit, and so I can just go play with others. It's a good game. It's very friendly game, to
Yeah.
hang out with others as well.
She's a little shy. She was a little shy, so she was actually one of our early product testers for the dink trainer,
Mm-hmm.
which is this blue guy.
Okay.
So Suda used that quite a bit, didn't you?
Yes, and ding and drop helped me and with the game so much. Improve my ding and drop and understand the game a little bit more. I feel comfortable around the kitchen. Of course, we're talking about pickleball,
Yeah.
I feel comfortable in real kitchen as well.
So yeah,
All the
we give the product a lot of credit for developing Suda's dinks and drops,
Yeah.
but I got that killer serve. She just did that on her own.
Yes.
She's got a low burner serve that surprises a lot of people.
I've seen that serve in person. For our audience to know,
That's right.
yeah, I mean, Suda and Chris live in Minnesota, but they were out in Northern California visiting family, and we just ran into each other on the pickleball court as it kind of they just dropped in and was playing with a group of my friends and I. And I got to see Suda serve in person, and she's got a blazer.
Thank you. Appreciate that. Yeah.
I want to share something real quick about Uncle Greg. I saw this very nice gentleman with another gentleman, I can't remember who it was, sitting outside waiting patiently. I go, hey, let's go on in. No, we're following the rules here. We got to make sure that there's a resident. I go, I'm a resident. And then he came in. It was very impressive how courteous and kind Uncle Greg was.
Nice of you to say. And then we played, and then your opinion completely changed of me.
Yeah, you're kind of an animal on the court. That's true. You were hitting some really tough shots, and you didn't hold back. That's what I
No,
remember.
well, because you and I partnered together, and I was like, well, I gotta make an impression here, so I gotta bring out the A game for Chris here.
It was impressive.
It was fun.
Lots of fun.
Yes, we had a lot of
That's
fun.
great.
We had a good time. So,
Yeah.
Chris, tell me a little bit about the product and when you decided to create these trainers.
Well, Greg, I've been tinkering with corded ball trainers for a long time. I've hooked up a tennis ball to a elastic. It just didn't quite work that well. One that did work very well, that was a predecessor to this, was the lacrosse trainer, but it was lacrosse balls are very bouncy and they're hard as a rock. They're like hockey pucks, and it was just far too dangerous to release that. So you would flick it, and it would come right back at you. And so never came out with that, but that was the predecessor to this. And then what was really cool about this one is I stumbled upon using not just the elastic string, which is that paddle toy,
Mm-hmm.
which is impossible to do. You hit the paddle toy and the thing comes winging back at you, and you just have no chance to keep hitting it. So what I did was I added a non-stretchy portion, a non-elastic cord to it, so that the ball had the ability to drop naturally, so you could hit it again. It would reach full extension, stretch, and then come back and then relax and allow the ball to drop naturally. And that's what mimics a good drop or dink shot in practice.
Yeah, we have been fortunate enough to be able to test it out as well. For our listeners, can you kind of describe, because they might not be able to see, what this product is and how they're able to use it?
Yeah, so what we have is we have a paddle belt. I guess I'll demo it while I'm talking.
I've got one
Base-
here set up as well.
Yeah. So this stretchy portion, it's an elastic belt, goes around the paddle, and I like to set it down towards the lower third, and that way it exposes the sweet spot of the paddle. And then the the trainer has a stretchy portion of the cord and a non-stretchy portion. The stretchy portion is only about 13 inches long. You can see it right here. And the rest of this, you can't see the string, but
Yeah.
it's a transparent string. And
And what
then at the end of it is the ball. And that's
and
that's
you've
that's the
you've
product.
and you have the length, so it's about basically from the kitchen line to the net is the length
Oh,
of the
yes.
string and the elastic. So you're
Thanks, Greg.
practicing hitting the ball just over the net like a dink, and then a ball comes back to you, the elastic, and it just brings the ball back to you. It bounces, then you do it again, and you do it again, and you just work on your touch.
Yeah, thanks, Greg. That's a really good way to use the product. So you go out and practice on a court behind the kitchen line, so that you can see the trajectory of the ball. And this is why I believe this product is, aside from using a partner, the best solo practice that you can do. If you use a wall, the walls are great, but you cannot see the trajectory. And if you hit a proper shot and where it's going to fall into the kitchen after you strike the ball, and with our trainers, you can see that. And having a reference point, the perfect one is what Greg just said, is on the court. You have the net itself, which is 34 inches in the center, 36 inches on the side. Or at home, what I like to do is I aim for a table. Table height's about 36 inches, or counter height, or a doorknob. Or you can actually tape a target onto the wall if you want. Or the back of a couch is about that 36 inches. But it's always good to have a target, because practice doesn't make perfect. Perfect practice makes perfect.
Nice.
Yeah, I think a lot of players kind of skip over that piece just because, going into matches is so much fun, but it's the training part of it that is where you start to see results and start leveling up your game. As I was looking at your website too, I was able to notice that this product has been tested for 3 years. Can you share with us kind of what that process looked like over these years and what iterations of this product did you go through?
Well, it looks like a lot of, the clear line is fishing line. It looked like a lot of fishing line all over the floor because I literally probably tried, hundreds and hundreds of iterations of a mixture of, the elastic portion and then the inelastic portion to get the lengths perfectly adjusted so that it felt like a dink shot. So it was
Right.
a lot of trial and error in that 3 years, and then testing with all levels of players, coaches, during that whole period, in order to dial in where I believe it's the most um, accurate training device outside of a partner across the net. So this is intended for solo use. When you don't have access to a partner or the weather's terrible outside, you can do it anywhere. Um, I'm commonly hitting right in my living room right here, whenever I want.
Yeah.
Um, but here's the thing: just 10 minutes, and you could rip off 500 dink shots, 400 drop shots in 10 minutes. And if you do that every single day, we guarantee that you will have a better dink and a better drop shot or your money back. And I think
That's
we're the only trainer in the industry that will do that. Promise.
So you mentioned a drop because you have a dink version of the trainer and you have a drop version of the trainer. So tell us a little bit about the drop version.
Well, they're pretty much the same product. Just like in real life, it's pretty much the same shot. A drop shot arguably is just a longer dink shot. You just follow through a little bit more. There's a little more motion into the stroke, and so the string gets longer. It's the same elastic portion, but we go 2.5 times longer on the inelastic portion of the cord. And so when you strike the ball, and this took more adjustments than the dink trainer did. It feels like you're putting in the same amount of pace and effort as you would to initiate a drop shot.
I think it's
I did
key.
notice that. Yeah, when we went out to the courts, I went with my sister. She's learning how to play, and so
Yeah,
I was like, "This is a perfect person to kind of test this out on and see what her response was to it." And so we started her off on the dinking one, and as you mentioned,
good.
about 10 minutes in, and then afterwards she's like, "Okay, I can see how this is helpful because she, as you said, you get in so many shots in such a condensed amount of time." So we used that as a warm-up tool, and from start to finish, when she was finished, she felt like she understood how hard she needed to hit the ball for it to be an effective dink, because I mean you can get that across the court, but if you're doing it by yourself, I mean I think that kind of builds up that muscle memory.
Yeah, that's a great story. Thanks for doing that with her, Bridgie. Here's the other thing that sounds stupid but really isn't. It's attached to a string, so you're not chasing that ball all over the court.
Absolutely love
That's
that part of
true.
it.
When beginners start, specifically, uh, the ball goes all over. It could go into the next court over, even with a high, barrier. So you really condense the training time and the efficiency. In fact, I even had someone that used it for wall training. I go, why would you use this for wall training? So she's hitting against the wall
Mhm.
with our product.
Mhm.
And I'm like, why would you do that? So when I miss, I don't have to chase the ball. I just pull it back up and keep going.
That makes a lot of sense. All right,
Yeah,
Chris.
so it's efficient, time efficient for
I
sure.
took your dink trainer next level. All right, you know me.
Ooh, I can't wait to hear this, Greg.
I had to figure out like what can I do. So I was thinking, right? I was thinking, got my dinks down. I felt good about it. So then I started speeding up to myself, right?
Ooh,
I started
yeah,
speeding it up, and because it has the elastic part of it, it was speeding up back to me, right?
sure
So like
was.
coming back fast. So then I was like, okay, I can kind of work speed ups. And then I tried, okay, speed up, reset, speed up, reset, speed up, reset. And it allowed me to practice this where you can't, I mean, it's, like you said, by yourself, you would never be able to get that practice in.
Well, Greg, you are next level. That is next level stuff.
But
That
it's so
is
cool because
that
the
is okay
elastic brings it back
for all
fast.
the listeners. This is probably a step beyond intermediate. What Greg is talking about here. So I wouldn't try that right away, but that's
That is an
definitely
option, I guess.
all right. I'm going to ask you, what else have you tried to do with this product that it wasn't maybe not necessarily intended for?
Well, before I did this speed up reset, I was going speed up, speed up, speed up, but then I couldn't keep it going, right? So then I go, okay, let me just reset it, kind of regain myself, and then speed up, then reset it, then speed up. When I tried this, go speed up, speed up, speed up, I couldn't. My hands weren't fast enough to keep up with it. But I tried.
That's great story. I'm also in that beyond the intermediate level, but I've been doing this for 4 or 5 years. And what I'm starting to do is I'm doing offhand training and two-handed training. So I'll take the drop trainer and I'm using that for cross court dinks two-handed and practicing my left hand, my offhand for just forehands. And I'm finding that's very effective.
Wow. So we were talking, Uncle and I, earlier about two-handed backhands versus single-handed backhands and how you can practice that at this point in his like pickleball learning journey, because we were saying that in the beginning when you're starting off, that might be a good time for people to see if they like a two-handed backhand versus a single-handed backhand. But now, Uncle, you can practice using this tool and you can build it up and you can have a two-handed backhand. It's not too late.
It's not too late. I have hope. I have hope.
Well, my two-hander has to be getting better because I'd be hitting the walls and the windows in this living room. So I have to be very very careful. But I think it's a great way, and I think pickleball more than tennis. I think a two-hander is very important.
Yeah.
That's what we're seeing. More and more pros are going with the 2E versus a one-handed. And like Bridgie and I were talking at the beginning, it's like I should have explored more hitting a two-handed backhand in the beginning to see whether, because I think at this point I probably would have a better backhand if I was, with a two-hander. So now I need to transition, or I just need to live with just hitting my one-hander.
And Greg, I would say that maybe the two-hander may be more important dinking, because dinking is become really aggressive. Mm-hmm. And it's an offensive weapon, and it's the biggest barrier to get to be an advanced player is how aggressive and offensive can your dinking be. And I think the two-hander really really assists in that objective. That's my
next
opinion.
time you come out here, I'm gonna be seeing that two-handed.
Well, maybe you and I just need to drill.
There's a lot of pressure.
Two-handers. We can just hit some two-handers to each other.
Yeah.
That's
so I did also want to give you an opportunity to share with our listeners some of the wonderful testimonials that you've gotten with this product, because on the website I did notice you had plenty of them and plenty of positive feedback from people who've tested this product. What has been like the biggest feedback that you've gotten from the people who've tested it?
Well, I think probably it would be Rob Gray, who is a 5.5 senior pro player. He's also a PPA. He's also a PPA pro, and the head club professional at a local indoor facility called Drop Shots. But his wife used our products and progressed her game from beginner to probably a 3-6 level. He uses this device to warm up before his matches on the pro tour. And he uses this tool at every level of player, from beginner to intermediate to advanced, and shows them the benefits of the product, because it's a great warm-up tool. So you're an advanced player, you get 500 dink shots, or 400 drop shots in 10 minutes before you step on when your partner arrives.
The other thing that I really like about your product is because of the, what do you call it, the elastic belt that you put around your paddle, you're able to actually use it with your paddle versus other things out there, other trainers out there. You have to kind of use whatever the ball's connected to, right? Whatever the product comes with. But on your product, you can use it with your paddle. So you have that same feel that you always have. And I think that is also something that's super helpful for players.
That's a great point. And then I would further say that we're the only one that attaches with a paddle belt. Now, there are other devices that attach to the neck of the paddle, and that draws the ball too low. It draws the ball into your hands. We looked at that, and we decided that we would do it the more difficult way, the more expensive way of putting the paddle belt closer to the center or sweet spot of the paddle to make it more realistic.
So I have a question on that. Brigie and I were actually talking. Maybe, Brigie, were you thinking about the same question?
Maybe. Go ahead. See
Wow.
So on your paddle belt, the string, right, is attached to the belt, right, that goes to the ball. Do you recommend that the string be in the center of the paddle or off to the side?
That's an interesting question. I don't know that it matters all that much. Me personally, I put it dead center.
Okay.
But I want to hear why you did it on the top or the bottom, Greg.
Well, it's not top or bottom. It's left or right or center.
Like
oh,
this.
Yeah.
The centers.
And I think
so
the only reason why we tried.
Did you find left or right interesting, and if so, how?
Well, we saw actually on your website, one of the examples, somebody had it off to the side. So we thought, oh, is there an advantage to putting it on the side versus the middle? So we just decided to experiment with it.
Okay. And what'd you find? Anything?
No.
Neither have I. I haven't, I've seen that too. And I don't know. I don't think it makes much difference.
I came back to putting it in the middle.
It might, if you put it on, because I'm always thinking the paddle's this way, not this way. So top or bottom, that's what I'm thinking. Maybe if you put it on the bottom, it might draw the ball more towards the bottom of the paddle. That's the only thing I can think of.
Okay.
And it may or may not.
Well, you have got a fantastic product, and I do find it very fun to use as well. We saw the benefits with my sister. So for all of our listeners who may be interested in checking out how they could get a hold of one of these trainers, where's the best spot for them to find it, and how much does one of these trainers cost?
Well, it would be our website, which is www.BOSSpickle.com. And it's $24.95. They're $24.95 a piece for either the dink or the drop trainer. But for your listeners, if they buy both of them, we'll give them $10 off. And all they got to do is put the code in that you guys are going to make up right now, and I'll put it on my website.
Let's just go third shot, all spelled out, THIRDSHOT. And that'll be the discount code to get $10 off if you buy both the drop and the dink trainer.
Just third shot.
Third shot.
There it is. We'll do it.
Thank you.
Well, thank you for doing that for all of our listeners. I know they're going to get a lot out of training with both your trainers.
No problem. Thank you guys so much.
Let's take a third shot. It's third shot for us. The second shot for you guys. But let's take another shot.
Yeah, we should really be doing 3 of these, shouldn't we?
Well, you can take 2 right now because Bridgie and I already started on it.
We started a little early.
No.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Here's the boss
Cheers.
pickle. Suda and Chris, thank you so much for coming on with us today.
Yes, thank you so much for having us.
And you're going to have to let us know when you come back into either the Bay Area or in Vegas, and we'll play again.
Yes.
Both of those are going to happen. Okay. You guys will have to
Can't
let us
wait.
know when you're in the Minneapolis area, Minnesota.
Okay.
We will, yeah. That'll be a
That
first for
probably
me.
that's probably not going to happen.
You never know.
You might be coming out our ways a little sooner than we might be making it to Minneapolis way.
Fair enough, Greg. I agree.
Well, thanks again for coming on. And for all of people that are listening today, thank you for joining us on Third Shot, where Bridgie and I want to continue to share our pickleball journey. A real special thanks to Suda and Chris for coming on. Please go to BOSSpickle.com, check out the product, order it, use the Third Shot discount code to get your $10 off. And check them out on Instagram as well, which is BOSSpickle683. There you can watch different videos, different testimonials, fantastic Instagram site. Go check that out. And you can support this show by subscribing, and we promise to have more amazing guests just like Suda and Chris on future episodes of Third Shot. So let's continue to share our enjoyment for the game and grow this pickleball community together. See you next time on Third Shot Podcast.